So something even greater here. All right. But I know you're talking to banks and they say, Mike, there's no way, like they're telling me I have to have money to do deals. Yes, you do need money, but it doesn't have to be out of your pocket. Yes, you need money to do deals. It just doesn't have to be out of your pocket. And today we're going to show you some different ways on how you can do it and how you can leverage these techniques to leverage up and scale up in your real estate.
It's low.
Well, that's all right. So if you approach a lender, yes, they're going to tell you need a 20% down payment. But guess what? It doesn't have to come from you. There's multiple ways that you can get this down payment. And we're going to share a few techniques here, because I know you'll be like, well, where am I going to get this money? Well, one of the best techniques I've used was on this deal here. And I'm going to share even another technique as well. But this one right here, this was a multi-unit we called the Carlton. It was in Bond Hills, Cincinnati. I did it with no money down, literally no money out of pocket.
And what's nice is this also has no investors too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
No investors, no money out of pocket. Like this was the killer way. And we did it by being a property manager. So for those of you who are like, man, I don't have any money. Look, you could be a property manager and that could be a way you get in the game. But guess what? Sometimes these people don't want anything to do with it. They don't want to put any more money into the deal.
Right.
So with that, you keep switching the screens on me. You can do these deals. And we bought this 41 unit. It needed $200,000 in renovation. And guess what? We were able to increase the rents, generate enough cash flow. So when a unit needed to be turned, we just took money from the cash flow to get the unit ready.
Yeah.
And over a short period of time, we sold the building.
Yeah. In 15 months, you guys made like $627,000.
600 grand. Does anybody on here want to make 600 grand off of one deal, no money down? Anybody want to do 600 grand? Anybody type in the chat? Yeah, I see some me's.
Angel Williams said me.
I'm also what's the next slide?
Chris Metzak said yes.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Okay, cool.
What's another one here?
Yeah, but tell us more details about this, Mike. So the seller, who's an he's an older gentleman, is that right?
He was older, he was rich. Yeah, you kind of get your certain clientele. He was older, but not that much. I think he was getting close to retiring. He's in his late 50s, early 60s. And he's been through a lot on this building. Like when he first came to us, it was being mismanaged. It wasn't being managed properly. And it was just a struggle. And so we came in, did the management. I mean, we came in, put new windows. We did sliding doors. We repaired the roof. We had to move out all these tenants because they had drug issues in the back. And it just kept feeding more and more money, as we call capital expenditures.
That's why he's kind of like tired of it.
He got tired of it and said, I'm out.
And then you brought the idea of, hey, your rents are too low. Then what did he say? Yeah.
He was like, I don't want no more turnover, because what he saw was, I mean, his rents were $200-300 low. That's a big number. I mean, just to give you an idea, let's see, who's got the calculator? I don't have my phone. Do the calculator for this.
Oh, I turned off my phone, but yes.
$200 times 41.
That's
$8,000. Thank you. $8,200. Now 8,200 times 12.
That's 96 plus
98,000.
98.4 to be exact.
$98,400 more in income. All right. Now, yes. Now multiply that
or divide.
take you're gonna say 80%. Multiply that times 85%. So 98 to what was it? 92.
Let's just round it up to 100 times 80%.
That's $80,000 you're keeping. I'm sorry. 80,000 you keep, divide that by 8 cap. Let's just say an 8 cap.
So 80,000 divided by 8 cap, that's, wait, 800,000, that's 10. Now 80,000 divided by 8 cap
Yeah,
is
divide.
roughly $1 million.
That's $1 million. Just by increasing the rents, $200 on a 41 unit, creating $1 million in value.
Yep.
He didn't want to go through that because his concern was he was going to have to spend this $200,000 out of pocket. And that wasn't the case.
Yeah. So this is no money down. And then like when you get the contract, how come he didn't ask for any money down in the purchase and sale agreement? Because you didn't mention it, I'm sure. You didn't mention it to him, like, can we give you some money down? No, it's more like, hey, can we take?
He was just like, take over.
Can we take over?
I just want my monthly check, so it's netting. I don't know.
Well, they cannot hear Mike.
He wanted to turn down. He wanted to make sure the debt was paid and make about an extra $2,000 a month. So I paid the mortgage. He got his profit on top of it, and he said, you can have it. And that was it.
Cool. That's great. So it's no money down to purchase it, and then no money down to renovate it because the renovation came from the cash flow itself. That's awesome.
And then look, are we going to talk about another unit?
No, like, just how do you find this? Like,
go back to this. I want to talk about one more deal. I'm gonna do a video on this actually. Even though this is seller finance, even though we talk about no money down, you can structure the deal where you have limited capital. Because some of us in here got bad credit, and it doesn't matter. You may not have enough cash on a large deal. I did it with no money out of pocket. I'm telling you, I bought my very first deal. I bought a $230,000 duplex for $1,000 out of pocket.
That's the house hack. No,
and that was a house hack. That was my first 2-family. I talk about it in the book, From Broke to Millions. I literally bought this book.
You mean duplex?
I'm sorry, this duplex, and the owner financed the deal. It was seller financing. It was vacant. I didn't know how to paint. I didn't know construction. And I went in, got some people to fix it up. I got it rented. I got the top floor unit rented. I just painted carpet that top floor. And then I got a roommate on the first floor, which you guys now call house hacking. We just called it simply getting a roommate back then. And I negotiated my mortgage payment to be $700 a month. And it was $700 a month. And then the down payment, he wanted $3,000 down, I think. I stated, hey, I can pay you $1,000 a month. So what happens, I put the initial $1,000, but by the second month, I got the first month's rent and deposit, which then did that. And then I had another payment that came in, that was $1,000, and I did it for $1,000. And then I got it rented, and now I made all my mortgage payments. Amazing opportunity. And these are things that you still can do yourself today. All right. Let's go to the next slide. So no money down, seller financing, how to find them. I mean, you just look for the basic. Look at this building. It looks rough. I mean, just look rough, man. They struggling.
Yeah.
If you see somebody struggling, it looks struggling, they probably they want to sell, or they don't even know they want to sell.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't know they want to sell until you ask them.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, like, anytime that an apartment building has, needs work, right? The units look like crap. The owner doesn't even want to put pictures, let's say, when they're advertising it. And then, the rents are low. And when you check, websites like apartments.com, and then you see this like apartment building that has like, 1 or 2 star rating, those are some prospects, for owner financing, right? Because if the rents are low and the units need work, and yet the owner is not doing the work, most likely he is a tired owner, right? Just like the owner of Carlton, right? So therefore, when you do that, right, then when you offer to them, hey, why don't I take over your problem, right? So it's another way of saying, can I get your property with no money down?
Absolutely.
Right? So
and you driving for dollars. That's always easy. I've ran into quite a few properties with driving for dollars. Some of my first deals when I was doing single family and multi-units. Apartments.com you can reach. I mean, wholesalers is where I've been really effective. A lot of times they reach out to me and we do extremely well. And then check code violations.
Yep. That's a big one.
That was a lot of deals where I got. And look, a lot of times when you have code violations, they're not a major issue.
Yeah.
Do you realize sometimes it's like
falling gutters?
Yeah.
Like, that's an easy fix.
They've been littering multiple times. Somebody asks, how do you find code violations? Well, in the city, depends. They used to have, at least in Hamilton County, they used to have a list.
Yeah, so code violations, that's a whole nother podcast altogether. I used to do a lot of those back in the day, but each city, each county is different. You can find them, you can call your city's building department, and then sometimes they'll throw you to the health department, and then sometimes the health department will throw you back to the to the building department. But once you get the list, that's gold, right? Because
absolutely,
we've like the most motivated seller I've encountered came from code violations. I literally got houses with like for $1.
I bet people just deeded them over.
Yeah, exactly.
I think right around this one building, right where we did our 30-unit development, the townhouse, university townhouse. This building has so many code violations. It was condemned. I bought the building for $1,000.
Nice.
Hoping to redevelop it. We just ended up turning it into a parking lot. But I mean, $1,000, and now that building over there is worth over $3-4 million.
Wow, that's amazing. Power of code violations.
Yeah. What we got next? So here's some more no money down techniques. Mortgage assumptions. I used this technique to get this hotel in OKC when we had the 1% fee waive. I mean, so this was during COVID. I was hoping to get more properties, by the way. But we use this technique, and some of you may have heard the term subject to. Well, that's basically all we did. We assumed the debt. Literally, we had to get approved, but we assumed the debt. They waived the assumption fee, and I raised enough capital to cover the burn. And when I'm saying the burn, because it was during COVID, so the hotel wasn't really performing. So we just brought enough money to cover the cash flow or the debt service or any fees until we could get it up and running. And this thing started outperforming what we thought. And it's an extended stay, and this project has been doing extremely well. Right now, in January, where occupancy should be in 30s and 40s, we're at 72% occupancy.
Really? I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yes.
Better than Airbnb.
Yes. Oh, that was like, ouch.
Ouch. Sorry. But
ouch. Yeah.
I have to bring it up.
Yes.
But nothing against Airbnb, depending on where, the location and other factors, it can be very, very profitable.
Yep. No, somebody just mentioned, Angel talked about our attempts of assumptions took over 120 days. Assumptions do take some time, especially when you're dealing with commercial loans. It's not a speedy process. I don't think it took the deal did take me 6 months.
Yeah,
it took some time to put the deal together, but I think the loan assumption happened in 90 days or less, maybe 120 days. I don't really remember, but it definitely was 6 months. But the deal overall took about 6 months to close.
Right. Well, how do you find them, Mike?
How do you find them? Man, mines were really through my managers, whether it's apartments or hotels. My hotel operator brought us deals. They were brokers that they had relationships. Look, it's all about relationships. Look, when you have a deal, who are you going to call? Yeah, that was the first thing I was going to say. Ghostbusters, yes.
Now you're going to call Paul Glenn the king of ugly, stinky houses.
Yeah. No, but if you got something, you're going to call one of your friends.
Right.
Or somebody you've been working with. So I was new to the hotel game. Those lenders or lenders or owners were calling certain brokers
Right.
that they knew
Mhm.
that knew other people.
Mhm.
So my point is, it's all about your relations. I say this over and over again. Your net worth is your network. So if you want to increase your net worth, increase your network.
Yep.
And because of that, we are able to find multiple hotel operators from LinkedIn, attending hotel conferences. If you don't know, they got a conference now. It's called Alice. Alice. That's happening out in LA next week. I think it starts Monday to Wednesday, and then coming up in March, you have the Hunter Hotel Conference, which is a pretty big conference. That's like homecoming. It's like homecoming. It's a great time. Hey, I like it more. Not only do you get to see the state of the market, but it's like parties and drinks and music all weekend. It's like them hotelers know how to party, man. Hey, what do you think? Jairus, you remember your first conference at the Hunter Hotel?
Yeah.
Was that a good homecoming for you?
Really, really good.
I mean, I went for the business, but I ended up playing poker all night.
Mike, they serve beef Wellington.
They were serving beef Wellington and beer. I felt like a little kid. All the beer and all the sodas you want. Okay.
Holy cow.
And desserts. All right. So if you don't go to the Hunter conference, you at least got to go and get your desserts. Another technique, number 3, is credits and prorations. I explain a lot of this in my book. It's when you get the seller to participate, and it's all about timing. Look, I use this same technique on a 4-family. Let me talk about this 4-family I did, and then we'll talk about this. I did this on 100 unit, but this 4-family I bought, I borrowed money from the actual broker. I needed $3,000 down. I borrowed money from my real estate agent, and he lent me $3,000. He was like, "Mike, how you gonna pay me back?" I said, "I'm gonna close this on the 1st of the month, and I'm gonna pay you back then." He's like, "How you gonna do that?" I said, "Just watch." I said, "So when we close, I got the first month's rent and all the deposits."
That's the
So, and at the time, I
Prorated
think they were
rents.
like, let's just say they were 400 a unit and probably 200 deposits. So I was getting like 600 or 700 a unit total.
times 4, that's 2,800.
Actually, it was 8 units. So,
8 units. Okay.
So how much is that? Is that 4,800 or is it? Yeah.
Yeah. So you got 400 times 8, 3,200. No, 600.
600.
Yeah, 4,800.
I got 4,800 at closing. When I got that check, I cleared it, and then I paid my investor, my broker off.
Real estate broker.
Yeah. So that's one way, but you're still going to, even on the bigger deal, you do the same thing.
Right.
On some of the deals, I get the seller to participate, and they'll contribute 10% back, or a seller's second mortgage or equity.
Yeah.
They don't actually put cash back, but they put equity in the deal. And because they hold a second, you negotiate. Instead of saying, let's say they wanted $1 million. All right. You say, and his asking price was 1.1. He said, well, look, if you hold a second, I'll give you your 1.1.
Right.
And so they'll hold a second.
Huge. Yeah.
Right.
Huge.
So now instead of bringing, I don't know, was it 300,000?
So let's say 1.1 million.
Yeah.
Right. Oh no, originally it's 1 million, and then you're supposed to put, let's say, 20% down.
Yep. So that'd have been 200,000. Right.
But then you ask for 100,000 credit.
So now you only have to bring 100.
Right.
But then you found a repair that needed to be done.
Right.
50,000 credit repair. Let's say that the boiler, let's say 2 or 3 of the boilers and some minor roof repair, right?
Windows.
Whatever it is.
Right.
They credit you back $50,000. So now instead of bringing 200,000,
now you're down to 50.
You getting a credit of 150. And then if you close at the first of the month, they literally will credit you on the HUD for the prorated rents and deposits.
Yeah, majority of the rent because you close in the first of the month. Yep.
So you can end up getting more. You can end up still getting money back at closing. Now, how great is that?
Yeah. In fact, the example that you mentioned in your book, Mike. So it's like a $4 million purchase price, and then you know, by the end of using the prorated rent, security deposits, etc., like it's down to like, I don't know, like 36,000 for a 4.1 million for a $4 million building.
Oh, wow. That was amazing.
Yep.
I mean, but my point, these are simple techniques, whether you're using it to BRRRR, whether you're using it for a single family, a 4-family, a 10-family, 100 units, a brand new development. I use these same techniques today.
Cool.
Now, the other technique, number 4, is just straight up hustling. You got multiple sources to use to do this. I don't know if you ever heard of this, but you can use your life insurance policy. And the life insurance policy, I'm gonna touch on that and then go on to something else. But life insurance policies, if you have a whole life, you're actually building equity. So you're actually building a cash value in the actual policy. And so at some point, you can pull money out of your policy to leverage, to borrow from yourself to do that. That's also a technique that some of you may have heard, if infinite banking. Has anybody heard of infinite banking? Type in yes if you heard about infinite banking, or no, yes or no if you heard about infinite banking. But with this infinite banking or this policy, you can borrow from it and use it. I've done it for multiple deals where I borrow from my policy and literally pay cash. Had cash, had what, $50,000 cash in my policy. I had 50,000 cash in my policy, and I used it to buy some houses at an auction.
Nice.
And then I pay, and then I use the rents they paid back to pay my policy back.
Now, some people might be saying, oh, you know what, they've heard the term, just invest in the term life insurance and invest the rest in the stock market, blah, 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 But the nice thing about cash value life insurance is that it's like having a savings account that pays you 2, 3, 4%, 5%, right? But at the same time, it gives you life insurance, right? It gives you a death benefit. And then when you utilize the money by borrowing against it, the money is still there, growing and giving you dividends by 5+%, right? So, and then when you pay it back, then the money even goes even faster, right? So that's why it's a cool way to set up things that will pay you money so that you can use the money as down payment for real estate.
Then also we got the HELOC, home equity line of credit. That's simply just going to your bank and get a line of credit. I mean, those are great opportunities. Now, I like the line of credit instead of refi, because you can pull out your equity and you only pay what you use.
Right, exactly.
Right, where you refinance, now you got, let's say you refinance the deal and you got money back and you end up getting 200,000 cash back. Well, with that 200,000, you're paying on it immediately, whatever the rate is. Versus if you get a HELOC, a line of credit, if you write a check for $50,000, guess what? You're only paying payments on that $50,000, not the entire 200,000. And the reason why that's important, let's say you had, you got to refinance a 200,000, and let's just, I know it's not 10%, but this is easy math at 10%. So you're going to end up paying over 2,000 a month. Is that right? About 200,000? No, 833,000 a month on that deal. No, that's 1,600 a month. Yeah, at 10%.
On what?
On 200,000.
200,000.
Yeah, you're gonna pay like 1,600 a month on that.
Yeah, 1667. Yeah.
Yep, you're gonna pay like $1,600 a month versus, and then because you pay $1,600, if you didn't put that money to work, guess what? By the end of the year, you're gonna be down like $12,000, $15,000, right? Versus if you got a line of credit and you didn't use it that year, you're not paying any money. All right. So that's why I like credit cards. I know a lot of people like, man, I don't want to get credit. First of all, when doing real estate, in order to leverage and grow, you cannot, let me emphasize, you cannot be afraid to borrow money. Debt is your friend. What you want to try to manage is the interest rate that you're leveraging off of.
Mhm.
Now, and listen, I don't care if the interest rate is 9, 10, 12%. As long as the property is cash flowing and it could handle that, then you're fine. But it's when you get into these lower cap rates, let's say you got something out of 4 cap and you got 6% debt, well, you can't make a spread on that. Right, because you got to leverage your money in order to get that 2%. That's the whole point of leveraging money. So those are one of the challenges. So the big thing is your deal just got to make sense. Borrow your real estate agent's commission. I just shared how we did that. You can borrow against your 401k, which is the same as borrowing against your life insurance policy. You can take your IRA and convert it to a self-directed IRA. Yes. You can borrow from yourself, which is another form of infinite banking.
Yeah.
But
the nice thing is why it should be self-directed IRA, because a normal IRA from Fidelity, for example, you cannot tell them and say, "Hey, I want to invest in real estate." No, I mean they will just laugh at you, you know. So, however, if you convert the IRA, have another custodian that does self-directed IRA. Now you can have your IRA actually invest in real estate, you know, which is cool.
Peer-to-peer lending, join multiple lending groups. And also, you know, you got these multiple platforms. I mean, but there's so many different ways. It's just, you got to start thinking outside the box and learn that there are multiple ways how you can leverage with no money down or subsidize what you're missing by using these techniques.
Right.
I mean, the bottom line, you just don't have to do it on your own. That's not the best way of doing it. Leveraging OPM, other people's money, is one of the best ways on how you can get into deals.
Which is technique number 5.
There you go. I mean, this deal here, these townhouses, which were undervalued. I mean, they were renting these units, townhouses, for $900
in Marymount, which is
area. There's no reason why these should have been rented at $900. They would just sleep at the wheel. We took over. We pushed the rents to $1,600.
Wow, from 900 or 1,000, man. $600, $700 rent bump.
Man, it was huge.
That's crazy.
And we raised all the money from OPM, other people's money.
Nice.
It is one of the key things on being successful in driving your profitability in these deals.
Yeah, I know when I help do the due diligence here too, like inspecting each of the units. Now, I remember you bought it for like 10 million. Is that right, Mom?
That's right.
And then now, how much is the value of this after just 2 years?
I think we have 16 million.
Holy cow. $6 million, guys, in 2 years.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And things are adjusting, taxes, but I mean, yeah, we were up around 16 million. And we actually had offers on the property as well.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, that 16 million doesn't even include the cash flow you've made in the past 2 years.
Absolutely.
That's crazy.
We have multiple success students on taught them how to raise private capital. I mean, Tim Vest, he's our all-star. He's been doing extremely well. George Fry, Madeline.
Tim Vest raised like $10 million plus now. And he did it in just 2 years.
18 months. I mean, our students are doing things that took me 20 years, 24 years. They do it in 18 to 24 months.
That's crazy.
That's insane.
Yep. That's why you were saying you hate on our students.
I hate. Who wants to be next? Who wants to be hated on?
Now let's talk about raising OPM, because I know for some of you it's like raising money, you know, it's like a foreign concept. You know, it's like, how do I approach people with money, right? I mean, Safras asked the question like, how do I build credibility and raise money when I'm a newbie? Well, we will discuss that in detail during the OPM intensive, but there are 3 things you need in order to raise OPM successfully, right? So,
okay, what is it?
Yeah, the first one is having the right knowledge so you can raise money legally. Because if you if you don't do it the right way, you can literally go to jail, right?
No, they'll slap them handcuffs or you find yourself in court.
Yep.
We've ran into people that didn't do it right, and they literally, and you, even if you invest in somebody else's fund, you could be screwed up.
Really?
You can screw that entire fund, even if that person, let's say investment group A, right, was doing everything right. but then they had this other syndicator joint venture with them,
Mm.
Investor Group B, join in on that. And even though A's been solid, Investor B Group can just screw the entire syndication up.
Holy cow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's why it's very important to make sure you get things right.
Yep. So exactly, what do you need to do right? Well, you need to learn how to market yourself and your deal on social media the right way. You cannot just post on social media, hey, I have this deal, I have, this $5 million deal, I need $1 million.
Yes.
Do you guys know that posting that, unless you've filed the right exemptions with the SEC, posting something like that is potentially illegal, right? You can literally go to jail. And it's like weird that every single week, Mike, I see it on on many Facebook groups. Hey, I have this deal, I need 100,000 who wants to invest with me. It's like, no, you cannot just do that, right? That's illegal, guys.
Yeah, and I know you think that people just do that all the time. I remember when people just used to put signs out like, hey, I private lending, or I need private lenders. I'll pay you 10% with 2 points. Like they just put bandit signs out there. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you can fall under the radar for so long, but at some point, they're going to come for you.
Yep. All you need is one.
Or you really
happy
just need
investor.
one.
Yep.
Yes.
And then
That's what it is.
Your whole life can be screwed,
Yep. Nobody says nothing until it goes sideways.
Yep. So just do it right, guys. Attend OPM Intensive, go to opmintensive.com/virtual. Like, how do you talk to investors, right? How do you persuade them to invest in your deals, right? And then again, how do you raise capital following all SEC guidelines? Very, very important.
Absolutely.
And then what else do you need to raise OPM? You need the right systems, right? Because you might have a rich uncle and then you're able to raise $1 million. But when you have another deal, then now what, right? That's why you need systems so that it continues, right?
Systems are, even to this, Castman, we're just sitting over here.
Just talk about
he's still in office now. We're still working on a system that, yes, you can automate this. And we, oh my gosh, only if you're in the mastermind, but Keisha Kennedy, like, amazing presentation on how she processes her investor list. And here's the thing. Yes, you guys see me a lot in marketing, but you don't have to go what we say ham on this, right? Hard as hell. What is that? What does ham stand for? Hard as hell. That's what I thought. I just don't want to say the mother fuzzer.
Okay. So what exactly are the systems that you need, right? So you need a system to attract high net worth individuals every single month, right? So you need a system to persuade investors, by having, let's say, like Mike's script, investor script. I mean, I kid you not, every time I listen to Mike raise money, like talk to investors, it's like 90+% closing ratio, right? It's like crazy. You need like an executive summary, which is a PowerPoint presentation, like how do you get, I was talking to, his name is Brian, yesterday on the phone, and he's attending the OPM Intensive, but one of the things that he struggles with is, he doesn't know how to pitch. He doesn't know how to close his investors, Mike. Just like, attending the OPM Intensive and listening to your script will, just copy and paste, right? If it works, then just copy it, implement it, put your own twist to it, but you need systems like those.
System and then push repeat.
Yep, exactly.
You just do it over and over and over again. I wish it's only complicated because you don't know.
Yep, because you haven't done it before.
But it still is convoluted.
In a way,
it's a
yeah.
lot.
Especially,
I ain't gonna take that away.
Especially the syndication documents.
It is challenging. I'm not gonna even sit here.
Yep. So again, guys,
John Cashman, is that fair? Is it complex or it's simple? Raising capital and setting your system up.
It's easy, but not simple.
Yeah, I mean, everything's easy once you know what you're doing, right? But yeah,
and once you have a system.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But we make it easy for you. I think it's like me. I'm Michael Jordan. I'm dunking like in ease, but you ain't see the work I put in, right?
Right.
Okay, I am not dunking, but sometimes I feel like I can dunk.
Okay, let's not talk about Mike. and basketball.
I want to be like Mike.
The two things.
Everybody wants to be like Mike, man.
All right. So the third thing, and sorry for the typo, the third thing you need are the right people, right? Network of people. Because, you know, if you grew up like me and Mike, we don't have any rich friends and family members, right?
My friend's broke as hell.
So if that's your situation, do not worry about it because you're in the OPM intensive, you will be exposed to over 20 accredited investors. You get to meet them in person, and a lot of them are our mastermind members. In fact, the registration, like just the mastermind members alone, like 88 people already. So like I'm actually being
Well, this was
conservative
supposed
here.
to be like a small, intimate setting. How
I
we
know.
like we had to cut it off. We were
Right. That's why it's sold out already, you know. So but can you imagine that, guys? You know, like out of those 20 people, in fact, there are more than 20 people. All you need are a handful of people, right? 2 to 3 to start with.
you only need 2 to 3 invest.
Mhm.
Man, I got to where I am with really
You have old
2
man
main
Gary,
investors.
you know,
I had
another one. Yeah.
Well, yeah, Old Man Gary, Tom,
Mhm.
Tom Beachy, then Jim,
Mm-hmm.
and then we had a couple other people to start growing. But like really in my portfolio was really 8, 10 main investors that between them we had anywhere from 2 to 5 million at any given time.
Cool.
And there was out of that group, there was really only 3 big money people. One had 700, one had 500,000, the other one had 2 or 3 million, and the other groups had like 50,000 to 250,000
per person, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then on top of that, guys, you know, when you attend the OPM intensive, you have access to our database of over 100 family offices, their employees and decision makers, and that gets updated every single month. You know, you have online access to that. And for those of you wondering what the heck is a family office and why should you care, well, these are owned by wealthy families, right, Mike?
Yeah.
Like minimum that they can invest in your deal is what? Probably like $3 to $5 million.
They don't even want to write a check if it's less than
if it's
3.
less
If
than
it's
three-
less than 3
3
million,
yeah.
maybe 5 million, really. They don't even want to write it.
Yeah. So guys, so if you encounter a big deal, having just one family office will actually fund that big deal, right? So opmintensive.com/virtual. And then other reasons why you should attend the OPM Intensive, we only do this once a year. You will have access to all the recordings, so don't worry if you haven't taken off, from work or from your W-2. It's all recorded. You have access to that. You even get a one-on-one phone consultation.
They get a one-on-one?
Yep, with one of our apartment and hotel investing, Terry and Steven.
And one. Felt like basketball. You know how you go up, you make your foul shot, and then you get to shoot one more.
Right.
Is that what we're doing?
Nope.
No, not really. Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, opmintensive.com/virtual.
So this is not and
right
one.
now.
This is just one-on-one phone consult.
Yep. So again, it's fully sold out. The
and one OPM intensive.
Yep. So, but get the virtual ticket, you know, so you can ask questions right there as well.
So anyone can join virtually?
Yes, if you pay.
Go to
opmintensive.com
virtual.
Oh, okay. I was hoping I could attend for free. Thank you.
Well, you're going to be there.
You're going to be there. Well.
All right. What else we got here?
Attend virtually.
That's it. So, Angel Williams said, it just dawned on me, Casman is there in Cincy too. Yep. Jan Casman is here.
Yeah, we're going to take a couple of questions and then we'll jump into a few things here.
All right. Who has a question, guys? Q&A. Okay, chat is disabled. That was for
chat
earlier.
disabled. Well, we fixed that.
Oh, there's a question that I saw, like, how do you get a no money down deal when the lead came from a wholesaler?
There's no I understand.
Yeah.
So not all, it depends on the relationship. Some wholesalers, yes, they're going to require some earnest money or non-refundable. So not all deals you can't, but you can borrow your earnest money as well. You can still use these same techniques. Again, Even if you got a wholesale, I just showed you can use your life insurance policy to do the deal.
Right.
You can use OPM. You can borrow some money for the earnest money. Your self-directed credit card. You can, because you can put that on file. Sometimes it's not refundable. Some it is refundable based on inspection. It just depends on your deal.
Yeah. So what I answered as well is that, guys, we've shown you 5 different techniques. Use a combination of these techniques, right? I mean, especially technique number 4, hustle, right? Which is in itself combination of different sources of cash, right? So as Mike said, go outside, think outside the box, right? And then lastly, definitely use other people's money. Delon Desane or Desane asked the question.
How do you calculate?
Two questions, yeah.
How do you calculate the cap rate in simple terms? Well, here's simple terms. You simply take the NOI before debt. So let's say you netted $100,000, right? After all your expenses, before you put in the mortgage payment, you netted $100,000. Then you find out what the current market cap rate is in that area. Cap rates, because interest rates have jumped back up, cap rates have went up as well. When interest rates go lower, values increase, so therefore the cap rates decrease. But now rates are going up, cap rates are going up. So let's just say at 100,000, the cap rate is a 7 cap or 7%. So you take $100,000 divided by 0.07. What does that get you? Is that 800,000 or is that going to be 1.4 million?
7 cap, 1.4 million.
1.4 million. So yeah, so the value of that is 1.4. So simply take the NOI and divide that by whatever the market cap rate. Yeah. Now let's say you want to find out the cap rate. Let's say you have the NOI, you have the sale price. Well, then you take, if I'm correct, you take the 100,000 divided by the 1.4. What do you get?
7%.
That's how you get the cap. That's how you get the market cap rate. Okay.
Well, that's the cap rate of the property.
That they selling it at.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Do you use hard money? I used to, but people still use it. They don't necessarily call it hard money anymore. They call it bridge loans.
Yeah.
Well, when you get into larger deals,
in apartments and hotels,
they still call them hard money. Hard money is basically when it's higher than the actual current market rate, and it's not LIBOR anymore. They use something else. I can't remember. Yeah, they removed LIBOR. So let's say the current market rate or interest rate is 6%. So if it's anything over 6%, like 2 points more, that start to consider that hard money or bridge money. Okay.
And then how do you identify high net worth individuals and I'm assuming this is LinkedIn, right? So I can answer that, Mike.
Go ahead.
So you actually don't. Okay. So the way to do it is you put out content on social media on LinkedIn, and then have people respond to you. And then when you talk on the phone, that's when you identify them, whether they're accredited or non-accredited. Okay. So that's how you do it, because on LinkedIn, typically you have no way of telling if someone has high net worth or not, right? Now, family offices, though, you can actually identify some family offices on LinkedIn. You can just search them, but identifying who the decision makers are, now that takes a little bit more digging, so.
Dylan says, I promise this is my last question. And Dylan, I do not believe you. How do you use the cap and interest rate to determine if you have a good deal? Well, the cap rate simply determines the value. So, for example, if the market cap rate is, let's say, 7%, right? But you find out the NOI, when they do the NOI, it's 100,000, but they're selling at, let's do this, 100,000 times 6 cap. What's that going to be?
100,000, you mean divide by 6 cap?
Yeah.
1.6, 1.7 million roughly.
1.7 million,
Mhm.
right? It's going to be 1.7 million. So if somebody says they're selling it for 1.4,
Mhm.
and you know the market cap rate for that area is a 7 cap, and we already did the numbers, we confirmed that a 7 cap is 1.4.
Mhm.
So they're selling it for $200,000 more than the actual market.
Then that's a bad deal.
But if we did the numbers and they did it, they selling it for 1.2,
Mhm.
1.2.
Mm.
Yeah, if they sell it for 1.2 at an 8 cap with an 800,000, right? 800,000, 100,000, sorry, 100,000 divided by 8 cap, that should come out to be about 1.2. Is that right?
1.25.
Yep. So now we know we got that undervalued, right? Because we said the market rate is a 7 cap, which is 1.4. They're selling at a 1.2. So if you can get it and the value comes in much less than that, that's when you got a deal. Now 100, 200,000, not a big difference, especially if you got to do renovations, but it is a big difference if you're doing a single family or something like that.
Right. Now here's a question from Leslie.
Okay.
What if they don't keep good books and you want to buy a property? That's a good question. And it can actually be an opportunity if you know what you're doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, no matter what deal you do, you have to have your numbers, set your projections and your performa, and understand how you can manage it or how your team can manage it. But regardless, there's basic ratios of where you should be performing. I don't care what it is. There's a certain level of skill set and where things should be performing. Right. And so if they hit those basic performance, then you're all right. But if they're not, that's why you're able to estimate or project what they're doing, because you literally can say, well, expenses typically national average 2%. And then actually there's more and more detail. Like if you go to CoStar or some other places, they have reports online that tell you where you should be in the market or what the expenses should be. And that's how you can put your numbers. And if their expenses are over the standard market, then there's a problem. So we got to figure out what's the problem.
Yep.
All right.
Do you invest in other commercial properties as well?
Yeah, I mean, I don't
do
do it on a regular.
Yeah, you own an industrial warehouse.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to do more warehouses.
And you invested in a medical office.
I forgot about that. I mean, I would love to do more opportunities. Just that's not my field. So unless I have somebody in that expertise, I won't do it.
Gotcha.
All right. What
right.
where does that put us at? What time we got here?
12:55. So it's time for.
I got one on Facebook.
We got one more question
Let me
here.
give you this one. It's Jordan from Facebook says, when I sent you that 16 unit.
Hell no. No, I'm just playing.
I have a few other deals in Cleveland. Mike and you are in Ohio.
Yeah.
Jordan Loy. Yeah,
Jordan Loy,
yeah. Members.
Yeah.
What do you think of the Cleveland market? I'm so removed from California, I don't have knowledge of it.
I mean, Cleveland market is okay. I mean, that's not where I want to be at, only because I like to go places where I see the job market growing, the population growing. Cleveland is kind of going through a resurrection, and I don't even know if because I don't even know if they got really much job growth. I don't have statistics on that, but like, for example, Columbus, though, it's a major population. It's our capital. We got new jobs coming in. I've shared before. They got $20 billion worth of development, which are the population just in the city is just shy of 1 million, but it's expected to grow to 2 million. Yeah, the population is supposed to go from just the MSA over 2 million. So it's growing rapidly. They're in demand for housing. More and more jobs are coming to the area. So that is why I look towards areas like that. Cleveland, don't get me wrong, you can find something. I mean, no matter where you are, you can find a deal. Hell, we found a deal in El Reno, Oklahoma. You can find a deal. It's just, what are you looking for? What level of the game you want to play on? Ravi asks, do you also recommend to invest in vacant buildings as cheap to acquire?
It depends.
That's a very good answer.
It always depends.
I found some deals where I did extremely well in a vacant building, like my 19 unit on McMicken. I literally bought it at an auction for dirt cheap. I ended up buying it for, I don't know, $3,000. Then I put it in the pot. I ended up buying it back for $30,000, and then we renovated. We put over 400,000 in, all in 450. It's now worth $1 million.
Yeah.
Was that worth it?
Well,
yeah,
definitely.
Versus there's some buildings you can buy. You can buy 100 units. Matter of fact, like I said, it depends. Christine, she's doing a deal in Detroit.
Members.
Yep, she's doing a deal in Detroit. I think it's like 30, 40 units. It's completely vacant. And they have all the mechanical in, and now she has to finish it from the drywall out. And, you know, it's kind of a deal. It could be just a matter, can you really get the rents to where it needs to be to create value? If you only can get the rents to kind of the average market, then, you know, yes, you can make a profit of probably 300,000 to 600,000, but you put a lot of work in. So my question is, can you go somewhere else?
Put your time and
put
effort,
your time and effort and invest $500,000 to $1 million and do a better return. And if you say I can't,
or a faster return,
then you go ahead and do that deal.
Right.
So it's all about time, you know.
And it also depends, Mike, on one's skill set. Like if you ask me to rehab properties, I'll say no. No, that's not my expertise.
Well, and you know, Casman the same way. He's like, man, I don't want to touch those you know, properties that need a lot of extensive rehab. That's not my bag. But you let me finish and do, like, he did some landscape and kind of changed the facade on the exterior of the building and pushed the rents $200.
Yeah.
That was big. I wouldn't have paid attention to that.
Right. Like, so it just depends on your skill set, depends on the numbers of that vacant property when you turn it around and get it stabilized, right? So don't just get a vacant property simply because it's cheap, right? Because that, like for example, remember that almost 3 years ago, Mike? This guy reached out on Bigger Pockets, and then he was literally crying because he got a vacant property and he lost everything.
Oh my God, man. Yeah. You know? I was like, I told your ass.
Don't do that dumb shit. That's what Mike told me.
I was like, why you do that dumbass shit? Like I told you, man. No, I mean, just don't know what you're getting into. You know, some stuff, like, don't get me wrong. I promote being uncomfortable. And right now I'm very uncomfortable with all the stuff I got going on. I'm pushing myself, but I studied. I know I can get myself out of it. But when you ain't got no resources.
You have no knowledge.
You got to start.
You have no knowledge.
Excuse me. I don't want to shit on anybody's dream. Go after it, man. But just try to get you a team together and build up on it.
You gotta,
don't go blindly in there.
Right. You gotta get the right know-how, right, from the right people, and the right know-who, the right team to help you. Don't just get the vacant property simply because it's cheap, you know. Hey,
so look, man, opmintensive.com. We sold out. Go to virtualopm.com/virtual. Sign up. A major event. Teach you how to get the bag, how to raise millions of dollars. Listen, you can use this to raise 50,000. And then guess what? Once you raise 50,000, use the same technique to make it 100,000. And guess what? Once you get to 100,000, you do it again. So then you have 200,000. Oh, and guess what? You're going to do it again. Because once you get to 200,000, you raise it until you get to 400,000. Then once you get to 400,000, you do it again. Then you get to 800,000. Then you have 800,000. Then you have 1.6 million. Then you do it again. You at I can't do the math. 3.2. Yeah. So my point is just you keep doing it over repetition, and you get better. And guess what? The numbers I gave you are realistic, because what happens is one investor will invest $25,000 or $50,000. When you come back to him again, you did it right, he's going to double up.
Exactly.
And then what's going to happen is like, hey man, I didn't tell you, but I'm really sitting on 500,000 and my best friend's got $1 million.
Mhm.
And if you do it right, his other friend's sitting on 10 million. So just treat everybody right, do what you're supposed to do, and I promise you'll be there.
Yep.
All right, let's go, man. Let's get into this millionaire mindset.
All right.
Man, what's wrong? My eyes are sleepy or something, man. All right, so
Now it's time for Mike.
oh man,
Mindset.
I have my headphones on today. Look, man, we just finished celebrating Martin Luther King, and that was something spectacular. I was sharing with people earlier. I remember when I was growing up, I would go see my grandma and grandpa, and or your great. This is for all the family, especially if your brother, or grandma, black man. They had a picture, or you had some spoons, utensils sitting on the wall in the kitchen, the wood spoons on the wall. You had a picture of Martin Luther King, and you had a picture of white Jesus. That's what you had on the wall. and I know Martin Luther King did so many great things, but those were some of the great memories I had. But what he's done, but what was really amazing, the story you did not hear about Martin Luther King. You know, Martin Luther King graduated, got his PhD, and actually Martin Luther King had a job opening waiting for him. They actually wanted him to become a dean of the school. And so he was offered that job to be dean of the school, but it wasn't ready at the time because it was under renovations. And then it so happened that there was a delay in the renovation. Whatever reason, there was a delay. And during that delay, Rosie Parks was on the back of the bus. And that was the day she was like, I'm tired of having to go to the back of the bus and getting up for these people. And I'm a human as well. And that began the march, the threshold, the yeah. And that became the whole movement of this whole Martin Luther King thing. We good? And so, but when that happened, Martin Luther King moved into his purpose on leading Black America, not just Black America, just the civil rights movement. And so my point is, most of us always come across multiple delays. We're doing all these things right to get in position, but we get delayed. And so what I'm telling you is, there's going to be times God is going to delay you to put you in your purpose. God is going to delay you sometimes to get the right education, to put you with the right partner or the right teacher, the right coach, or the right deal so you can get into your purpose. So I just today, I just want to encourage you and remind you, sometimes it may take a little longer than what you expected, but that's okay. When the time is right, your deal will be right. You'll be in the right deal with the right team. And you may have come across that delay, but you will be in the purpose of why you're supposed to be there. Hey, that's our time. Let's give this book away. But as I always like to close out, God bless you. God keep you. May God bless you beyond your belief, but not your capacity. And remember, you're one big deal away. Who are we giving this book to away?
All right, you know what? Let's give the book to Chester. No, so he has been quite active there in the chat. So let's give a book to Chester. So Chester, type it. Send a message to Walt with your address, and he will send you your book, From Broke to Millions. All right, Chester. Congratulations for being part of this, and talk to you guys. Well, next week, by the way, we will do the live
We're gonna do a live
podcast
podcast at
during the
OPM
OPM
Intensive.
intensive.
So we're gonna do our live podcast live at OPM Intensive. All right.
All right, see you guys.
See you. Peace.
From none, so you know I gotta get it. 10 toes down when I walk in the building. They treat me like a prince, maybe because I'm the king, maybe because I'm the shit. Hey, but I'm humble. Kendrick, hello. Straight out of the jungle, I'm fearless. Yeah, hey, but you win some, you lose some. I'll make it through, son. Anything is possible. If you don't know it.